let's talk a little bit about that transition.
Sure.
Because we talked on Dolphin Tales, again, I'll put that in because I think it was a great conversation of what happens when you get done playing at the collegiate level. But let's rewind even a little bit further and let's talk about what a high school kid might be thinking about. So if they are either, let's say, a junior going into their senior year or a senior getting ready to go to college, what, from your perspective as an athletic director and administrator, how can a high school kid set themselves up for success moving into the college arena?
Yeah, I think right now, the number one characteristic that young people, I think, have developed but need to continue to hone is adaptability, right? The whole recruiting environment has changed with COVID. Coaches haven't been able to go out and recruit. Prospective student athletes haven't been able to come and visit campuses and meet with coaches. And so ensuring that you're able to communicate, whether it's via email, via phone, with video, with coaches that you are interested in potentially working with and going to school and playing for, and institutions you're interested in, making sure that you're on top of that. And so it has not been sort of the traditional environment of getting to know coaches face to face. Video conferencing, sending in your highlight tapes, sharing what it is you're doing via email communication or phone communication is so much more critical now than ever. Now, that's going to open up come June 1st when this recruiting dead period is lifted. And so coaches will be able to have prospective student athletes on campus for visits. Coaches will be able to attend events that they would normally attend, be able to see prospective student athletes that they would normally be able to see. So that's good. That's the sort of the first bit of context I would provide. At a ground level, though, I think what prospective student athletes need to be focusing on is still checking the boxes that are required to become student athletes. Register with the Eligibility Center. It used to be called the Clearinghouse. Register with the Eligibility Center. If you haven't done that by junior year, you need to do that. If you haven't done that by your senior year, you really need to do that. And I know there are prospective student athletes that have not done that and do it late and don't do it until their senior year. That's okay, but you need to get on that. There are two requirements within the Eligibility Center: your amateurism certification, and then obviously your academic certification. And so the only way you're going to be able to play Division I sports is if you are your tasks, your jobs are completed through the Eligibility Center. So registrations first and foremost, completing the amateurism questionnaire, and then also sending in transcripts, right? The Eligibility Center needs to review your transcripts to ensure academically you've taken the proper courses per NCAA requirements to be eligible, you've achieved the proper grade point average, and can be viewed as a full qualifier is what they call it. Okay. A full qualifier, it ensures your eligibility. You won't receive that certification in most cases until the end of high school, but sending a transcript after your junior year will start that preliminary certification to let you know that you're on the right path, because you have to meet certain requirements by the end of your junior year. I'm calling back on my compliance days with this conversation. So that's a big one. Right now, the NCAA is not requiring test scores for at least a year, because the College Board has, at least this year, the College Board has sort of put a halt on that. A lot of universities have put a halt on that because it's been harder to take the test. There hasn't been as many testing dates available because of COVID. There weren't as many opportunities to take the test, so there's been some flexibility with the testing requirement. But the Eligibility Center normally will require a test score to match your transcript. And a lot of institutions might still too. So I do recommend, if you can, to take the SAT or ACT, because in normal years, in order to be eligible, you have to have a certain test score at a certain GPA on a sliding scale in order to be eligible. This year, again, is a little different because of all that's played out with COVID. So that's the biggest thing I would say, is to take care of business with the eligibility center, with the academics, with the test scores, with the amateurism. Obviously, going out and trying to promote yourself is important too. A lot of the time, coaches might not know you unless you reach out and communicate about yourself and promote yourself. It is easier now than ever for coaches to be able to pick up on who is at different places, or who is playing well, or who has been really successful in a given sport. But it's not going to hurt you if you proactively reach out to the coach's staff, university as well, to share all that it is you've been doing.
And it's such a different world from when I was, getting ready to go, into my senior year and then eventually come to JU. Chad Houseman, Chad Oliver, and I talked about it. They've got kids that are in high school now, so they're starting to get into that recruiting phase. But we were talking about, our dad's out there with the camcorders and sending physical VHS tapes. And, there was no way. Like, I didn't talk to any coach on the JU staff until I came to TA's winter camp.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. I talked to the pitching coach one time on the phone, but we didn't have social media, and I would never just reach out. But I think to your point, like, it's so wide open now. And I see a lot of your coaches do a great job where they're liking, retweeting, following these high school kids, and it's just incredible to see.
Yes.
And what's really cool about it is I saw some of them were committing to other universities, and your coaches were still congratulating them. And so it's this really cool dynamic where they said, instead of getting the sheet of who's going to be at this showcase, they already know.
Yes.
And so I think, to get a little bit uncomfortable from a student athlete perspective and go follow, one of the coaches at the university you want to get to, and put yourself out there. It's what a wild world.
It is much different. When I was a tennis player and I was getting recruited, I'm sure like when you were getting recruited to play baseball, coaches could only call you once a week.
Yeah.
And I remember every Sunday night I would have a call from a coach at 8, a coach at 9, and a coach at 10. And by the time it was 9 and 10, I was ready to go to bed. But there was their weekly call. They would call me on Sunday because I said that's when I could talk. Now you can call unlimitedly, you can text unlimited, you could follow and like and retweet on social media. So things have changed. And so being able to understand that and expose yourself to that is critical.
Do you think the camps help? And this is maybe a bit of a roundabout way to plug some of the summer camps, but I know soccer has a camp going on, baseball has a camp. So do those, again, that was my experience of, I probably send in a tape to JU, pitching coach calls me, I go to TA's winter camp, and that was it. I came on campus, loved it, and that was kind of the start of my story there. If you are a high school kid overall, do those really help get you that exposure with the coaches, obviously, because it's a smaller setting and you've got that week or whatever it is with them?
Yeah, I think they can. And again, this year there's going to be camps. Last summer there weren't camps, and that, I think that unfortunately hurt programs and it hurt our prospective student athletes. And I think camps can really help. And I don't know if that they're going to be the end all be all, like maybe they used to be. Like if you got invited to a camp back in the day and played well, that was your ticket. But I think they can be part of it, right? I think they can get you seen, and I also think they can put you over the top. If a coach is sort of on the fence about a prospective student athlete, invites them to the camp, the kid shows out, presents himself well, you get to know him a little better because you're there with him for a few days or her for a few days. I think that maybe it can lead to an offer, but I think you got to do more than just camps. But I think this summer with them being open and our camps being back sort of on the calendar, I think it's always a way to help you get seen. And I also think it's a special way because if it's a few-day camp, for you to learn campus too.
Sure.
And for you to learn about the school and whether if it's a fit and whether if you feel comfortable there versus, just one visit to campus during the year or you meeting a coach, where you live. I think a camp is a setting where you can really get a feel for the university. Whether you're an athlete or not, whether you plan to play in college or not. Maybe you're a high school athlete and you don't want to play in college, but you love the sport and you want to go to a camp and you use the camp to see if you maybe want to go to school there. And so I think camps can serve a lot of purposes, and I'm just excited that they're back on the calendar for this summer.
Yeah, absolutely.